An investigative report by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ, cannot be traced, even though the Commission says it has submitted it to the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. The conflict of interest and corruption investigation was conducted on Zoomlion Ghana Limited and the District Assemblies Common Fund. The investigation took 9 years to complete and was submitted to the Attorney General's Department in June 2018. However, the AG's department says there's no evidence of such report in its records. Commissioner of CHRAJ, Joseph Otao, told Daniel Dazi on the Super Morning Show a while ago that his outfit conducted and submitted the report. My colleague, Manasseh Azuriawuni, he's head of our investigative desk. He joins me in the studio. Manasseh, you have been doing some investigative work as well on Zoomlion Ghana Limited and its work with various assemblies, and we titled that Robbing the Assemblies. Yes. I want to believe that you've been working with CHRAJ as well and probably giving evidence and sharing your findings with them. How does this news come to you exactly?
Well, it doesn't come to me as a surprise because in our Robbing the Assemblies investigative series, this contract was actually one of the contracts that had issues. And we are talking about the sanitation improvement package contract. Every assembly in Ghana pays money to Zoomlion to lift the communal containers. There is a contract for Zoomlion to supervise the sweepers. When they sweep and they put the refuse in the communal containers, there's another contract for Zoomlion to lift it to the final disposal site. And there are also contracts to manage the final disposal site. But this contract is the one which the company has to lift the waste. It was awarded in 2007, and CHRAJ started investigations 2 years later because someone from the Tano South district of the Bonohafo region at the time sent a whistleblower's complaint to CHRAJ that when the program started, or when this contract started, they signed a contract and started paying Zoomlion. Meanwhile, Zoomlion hadn't even come to the district to start work. So he said it should be investigated. When CHRAJ started the investigation from the Tano South district, it soon realized that the problem was widespread, so they had to open it up to the 138 other districts in the country at the time and started the investigation. Zoomlion went to court to challenge the mandate of CHRAJ to investigate the company. In 2013, there was a ruling that Zoomlion or CHRAJ had the mandate to go ahead. They continued with this investigation till 2017 when we were doing a Robbing the Assemblies investigative series. Somebody drew our attention to it, and then we had to follow up with CHRAJ. And they told us that, well, it is true, we have been working on such a report. And then by the time we did another follow-up, we did a number of follow-ups by June last year. CHRAJ told us that, well, they had submitted the report to the Attorney General's Department. And we waited for some time and then made a follow-up to the Attorney General's Department to try to find out whether or not CHRAJ really submitted this report and then what the AG's department was doing with it, because CHRAJ made recommendations, findings were made and all of that. It was then that we were told that, well, they hadn't. I contacted the minister, Madam Gloria Kufu, and she said, as far as she was concerned, no such report had come to her attention. I was asked to provide further particulars so they could run their checks. I did that, and they came back to still tell me that, well, they didn't have any such report.
It doesn't mean that the report is gone for good. I want to believe that CHRAJ may have a copy of its own report. It took 9 years to produce.
Yes, CHRAJ, I'm told, has a copy. We spoke to the commissioner of CHRAJ, Mr. Joseph Whittle, on the Super Morning Show this morning, and he said, well, they have a copy, and if the Attorney General demands, they would still go ahead and submit another copy.
Let's listen to the Commissioner of CHRAJ, Mr. Whittle.
As I said, included investigating Zoomlion for corruption, conflict of interest, and its officials for that matter, corruption, conflict of interest, the Office of the Administrator of Common Fund, and at that time, the assemblies were 138. One member actually was cited, that's the Kano South District Assembly. But because in the course of our preliminary investigation, we realized that the matter was covering all 138 assemblies at the time, we expanded the scope to cover all that. And we painstakingly, despite all the issues we were confronted with in terms of objections in court and rulings, and which necessarily led to delays, we concluded and submitted, I would say, a report in the interest of the states of Ghana to where the report expects us, where the law expects us to forward it to. This is the Attorney General under Section 10 of the Whistleblower Act. That's what we did. So it was far-ranging, and it concluded with findings. We made our own recommendations going forward, specific to the case and in general, as to how we can handle these type of issues. We have evidence of our transmitter letter. We have evidence of the delivery. So when your reporter came to us, we indicated, I called for the file, showed evidence that this matter is no longer within me. But be that as it may, we are willing and ready to submit that huge report with its findings and everything to assist the Attorney General take a decision on that.
So I hear you saying that you would send another copy to the Attorney General's department.
I am willing and ready if they want it.
Right, let me just wrap up with Manasseh on this conversation. We've heard the Commissioner. He says they will send one if the Attorney General wants it. And I'm sure the question on many minds is, it's been exactly a year. They sent the report in June 2018. Why didn't they follow up themselves?
Well, when we spoke to him, he actually said that if they send reports, they are not supposed to put pressure or even follow up because they leave it to the discretion of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. They have done their constitutional mandate. So if we hadn't even stepped in, the Attorney General's department wouldn't have even known that any such report perhaps was coming. That's the minister. I've also spoken to the deputies who are also not aware of such a report. And then the CHRAJ would also be sitting down knowing that we have submitted a report. So in between, there is a void, and this matter would have just died a natural death if we had not come in. So going forward, we'll still want to follow up and find out whether the Attorney General would demand for the report now that she knows that the report was supposed to come to her, and whether any action would be taken on this Zoomland contract.
Thank you very much. That's head of our investigative desk, Manasseh Azure Awene. You're listening, you're watching actually News Desk here with me, Bernice Abubeidu Lansa. We'll take a quick breather. When I come back, we'll be bringing you business details, and it has to do with the Bank of Ghana's shutdown of over 300 microfinance companies. Do stay for details.